the Wessex Wyvern Double C 5/4 tuba. Do you want to know what it's all about? Well, stay tuned. This is the Wessex Wyvern Double C Contrabass tuba. It's what they call a 5/4 sized orchestral tuba, and it's made by Wessex. First of all, it's rather amazing what the Chinese companies are coming out with. You've probably already seen, if you're into tubas, my Eastman 632 Double C tuba review, which is a horn that's right there behind me, and it is one of my favorite instruments of all time. So here I am with the Wessex tuba, one of its main competitors, because it's a Chinese-made tuba. It's made in what I would call a professional style, and definitely in the attempt to be a professional tuba that you can play in any symphony orchestra throughout the world. Even though it's made in China, it's made to be professional. These days, there are still plenty of instruments that are made all around the world, from the United States to some really crummy ones in India, South America, whatever, that really do fall short and are kind of poorly, cheaply, quickly made. Who are, or what's the story behind Wessex Tuba? Wessex Tubas was established by experienced British tuba player Jonathan Hodges in 2010 with the aim of bringing the pleasure of brass music making to the masses. Discovering untapped potential in the affordability and efficiency of Chinese manufacturing, Jonathan began commissioning his own tubas for creation abroad. Starting small and with big ideas, after only a year, Wessex Tubas had grown enough for Jonathan to dedicate all of his time to the business. And in 2012, a distribution center was opened in the USA, responding to increasing demand in the States. Initially using standard designs, Wessex Tubas soon started branching out, customizing and designing their own instruments whilst using professional artists' expertise to refine the sound quality of each new product. Thanks to Jonathan's unwavering vision and passion for his craft, Wessex Tubas is now a leading brand in brass instrument design and manufacture, creating truly unique, audibly and visually stunning designs alongside the classic instruments we all know and love, whilst remaining unafraid to resurrect rare and long-lost brass instruments that were once popular. Wessex Tubas was created by musicians for musicians of all ages and abilities. All Wessex Tubas and brass instruments come with a 3-year peace-of-mind warranty. You can buy in confidence, as we will give full refund in the unlikely events you are unsatisfied and return within 2 weeks. Furthermore, we offer a 3-year guarantee against manufacturing defects, which is much more than most leading brands. And then here on their website, Wessex Tubas have their artists. If you consider a tuba artist, an artist like me, Wessex, you should put me on there too. Tubadylan. Tubadylan. Super Mario Brothers. Can't beat it. Can't beat it. A few more thoughts on the Chinese tuba. It's great that Chinese manufacturing has been able to make things so inexpensive. I mean, tonight I'm going to stay up till 3 a.m. if I can to try to get the iPhone X. iPhone, of course, wants to call it the iPhone 10, but it's either the X or the 10. I'm going to say it's the X because it looks like the iPhone X. Anyway, at 3 a.m. I'm going to try to order that phone. Now, it's an expensive phone at like $1,200 or whatever it costs, but the computer in that phone is like so much more powerful than the computer I was using to edit video and record music just 10 years ago. So that's incredible. And that kind of technology has boomed China. And obviously, in the same kind of way, these Chinese have developed technologies that make it easier and easier and cheaper, and I suppose they have cheap labor too, to make musical instruments at a higher quality. And here we go, the Wessex Wyvern Double C Contrabass Orchestral Tuba. It is a design that, according to Jonathan Hodgetts, is one of a kind that he helped design, and it's copied in part of at least the good parts of a few different tubas. Now, he sent me a Facebook Messenger message here because I asked him if the horn is designed after anything and if he'd like to elaborate. He said he chose the 2155 bore profile as it's been about the most in tune double C tuba available, and that's what I've heard from many people. I never played a 2155. He said he did not like the overall design and did not want to make a clone. The Bear, he says, I think is a great design, so I decided to scale that down to 5/4. The bell was decided by the fact that it fitted the bell throat exactly and already had the mandrel made. Bell mandrel is the most expensive investment in making a new design of tuba. And that's from Jonathan right there. So I guess a lot went into the design of this instrument. I mean, he is a tuba player and he's interested in tuba design, and he thought, you know, I really like this valve block in this particular part of a tuba, and then there were other concerns about like what kind of manufacturing they had available. It's all really kind of interesting. I think a whole lot of thought and meditation and planning went into making a tuba like this. So let's talk about the design for this tuba. It's really nice. It's a big wrap, so it has a really open and strong and loud and thunderous sound. It really does. I think it's because a lot of it is sort of pushed apart as to some other horns that are, you know, more smashed together. If that makes any sense, like more condensed. This horn, there's plenty of room for all the pipes and for all the brass to resonate. And that's sort of what the York style tuba is. If you look at the Arnold Jacobs tuba, if you look at all the copies of those, they just try to put just one big curve per valve bit, or maybe two, but to keep it really elongated and open. It is heavy. This thing is heavy. I don't know what it weighs, but feels like it weighs a little less than my York Brunner, but not much. And I did have a very tiny accident. So Jonathan, as you watch this video, there's the tiniest little crease up here in the bell, and I was holding it, and it was just super heavy. I was holding it down here, about to put it down, and it slipped, and it just fell a little tiny bit, and I thought I hadn't done anything, but if you look, there's a tiny little crease in there. Some of the braces are not perfectly shaped. It almost looks like they sort of forced them in there. They bend a little bit and they're pushed, and they look pretty solid. It doesn't look like they're going to come apart, but compared to some of my German, well, compared to all of my German and Japanese tubas, the workmanship is not the same. So this has a couple of maybe highly stressed. It might not be the greatest thing. I don't think it affects the horn much, but I think in the whole long run construction of the instrument, it's not going to be as rugged, and it's probably not going to be as good as Japanese tuba or a German tuba of really high quality. The fifth valve, I think, is a little bit clanky. Most fifth valves are. This has a lot to deal with, right? So it has this little part here, and then it curves back this way, and then it pushes back this way, and this is at a kind of a strange angle. So it kind of does this little bounce thing, you know, and you keep it oiled and everything, but it's okay. It's just, it's not perfect. But it's so rare I've ever had a perfect fifth valve. It does the job. It's like a trigger valve, and you don't have to use it for trills. This thumb ring here is adjustable. You can move it up and down, and then you can tighten it. I found it to be a little bit annoying. I have these things. I have this kind of thing on my Miraphone Bruckner actually, and I finally got it into the right place and like practically glued it down because it was kind of annoying when it came loose too. This one's not bad. It's not. I think it might be in the wrong place for me, and I'm too lazy to take it apart and move it, just trying the horn and didn't really want to move it. But it's okay. It's not great. Just not great. The valves are great. They're super fast. I don't know what he uses on them, if they're nickel, silver, or stainless steel. The model number for this horn is the TC590, and it prices from $5,500 US to $5,950 US for the silver plated version. The product description reads, our premier Wyvern brings a real symphonic CC tuba to the Wessex range. This is a tuba that is both flexible to play and has great sound and intonation. All symphonic tuba players should try the Wyvern before they buy. Here are the specs. The bell is 19 inches or 480 millimeters. The bore, the valves 1 through 3, is 0.74 of an inch or 19 millimeters. Fourth valve is 0.79 of an inch or 20 millimeters. Fifth valve is 0.085 of an inch or 21.5 millimeters. So it's a stepped up bore for the fourth and fifth valves. Weight is 25.5 pounds or 11.53 kilograms. Height of lead pipe from bottom bow is 610 millimeters or 25 inches. And here are the special features listed. Gold brass lead pipe, that's a really great thing. Lead pipes tend to corrode. Large valve buttons. I love the valve buttons. They're awesome. They have the cool Wessex logo, which has a nice feel. They're super fast. It says all nickel slides, and that's a good thing for lasting a long time. Direct rotary valve linkage with comfortable rosewood lever. The rosewood lever is a very, very nice touch. I mean, think about that. That's that's nicer than the German and Japanese companies often do. It's really pretty. Like, it's kind of like having a little bit of a guitar on your tuba. Nickel strengthening plates. Nickel strengthening plates. I guess those are what's around the bow here. Yeah. Hardened bell, Wyvern engraved valve buttons. I already dented the hardened bell. The engraved buttons, lightweight case with robust wheels. Okay, so Jonathan did say that there's a new case for these tubas, and I hope so, because the case it comes with is crummy. But you know what? I don't really expect the greatest case to come with a Chinese tuba. If I'm buying a Chinese tuba, I expect it to come in kind of a cheap styrofoam case that will fall over when you drag it, and that you can barely drag down the street. It's a light case, and it seemed to do the job for protecting the horn. I don't think it would last more than a couple of years if you were carrying it around like that more than a few times a week, but that's what I'd expect. So if I bought this, if this was going to be my main tuba, I would get a fitted gig bag for it, because that's what I do with all my horns. I wouldn't want to bring it around in a hard case anyway. Hard cases are just for temporary moving in a car or that sort of thing, or if you have to ship it. So I don't recommend the case. If you're going to have this as your main instrument, go buy a case. Now, Wessex has, what I've heard, are some really good bags now. So I don't know, maybe they'll send me a bag with the next 6/4 tuba, which I hope they're going to send me after this review. I can't wait to get my hands on that one. They have a 6/4 York copy. They actually have two with two different size bells. Super cool. The way these horns are designed, they just have to be this way. The spit kind of gathers up everywhere. So if you're a brass player, you know about how this works, but you see French horn players always pulling all their slides out and dumping their water, and the same for tuba players. And any kind of horn like this that's not a rotary valve instrument and that has a bunch of slides that face down and a bunch of slides that face up, every once in a while you have to work all the way through the horn, and here I am doing it. Got to go all the way through the horn and pull all these slides out. Not the most fun thing in the world. So, as I get older, hopefully I'll still be able to play one tuba, and I know it's going to be a smaller, lighter rotary valve tuba that I just don't have to work so hard to maintain. So these big piston valve tubas, if you play it for a while, it takes a lot out of you just to flip it around and everything, where the rotary valve tubas, all the spit goes straight down through one spit valve. You just blow it right through. There's no spit on your horn. It's great. By the way, for all of you people who are haters of brass instruments, it's really not spit, it's condensation. This is a heavy horn, 25.5 pounds. It's not for the light of heart. It's not for someone who's not super strong. I mean, it's heavy to pick up. If you're old, you're not gonna like it. I'm getting older, it's heavy, not my favorite. So, but that's what you get for having a big horn. I mean, a 6/4 horn. Now, Jonathan said, I read it in vlog or somewhere on TubeNet, he said that the 6/4 tuba is lighter than this one. Like a few pounds or maybe even more than that. I don't remember exactly. That's super cool. Like, to get the depth of sound, that fog-like thing that a 6/4 tuba can only get, and be lighter. I just can't wait to touch that thing, because that's the kind of horn I like. I really love my 6/4 Yorkburner. So just very curious to hear what the sound is like on the 6/4 horns, because the sound on this horn is very good. I think the tuba that this tuba most reminds me of is the Meinl Weston Thor. And don't get me wrong, I actually like it better than the Thor. The Thor was barky and felt really good. I mean, it felt good to hold, and I don't know. It was big like this one, but for some reason I remember it maybe feeling lighter or something. Felt good to hold. But the sound was kind of barky and just something like you can just splat those notes to the back of the wall as loud as you can play. This horn, you kind of feel like you're playing pretty loud as well, but it's just not quite as much. I think you can play a little bit more musically with this horn for some reason. The Thor felt like sometimes maybe you wouldn't be able to get soft enough. Where like on my Yorkburner, I can get really nice and soft and just have barely anything happening, and but have this really nice velvety fog kind of sound. This horn is maybe somewhere in between that. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it has this openness that I really, really like. As far as intonation is concerned, I think it's excellent. I played it with my band and I've run it against a tuner. A few of the low notes, like any of these big tubas, I haven't found one yet other than my Bruckner, where all the low notes, all the way from C down to the pedal low C, completely sounded and played easily in tune. So this horn, most all of it plays pretty easily in tune, and I've gotten away with not having to do any slide pulling while playing. Like on first step, middle line D, no slide pulling, that's great. It maybe could use it, so if I was playing in a solo passage and I had an exposed D and there was time to push it in a little bit, sure, but you can lip it, no problem. This horn does play very well in tune. Like I was saying, some of the lowest of the low notes are a little bit blatty, a little bit. Same thing with my Yorkburner. It's very mouthpiece sensitive as to how blatty it is. With a big mouthpiece like this, where you're looking for a lot of sound, you don't have quite as much control down in the low range. But the low range is good. The high range is good. The intonation is good. I don't have too much trouble hitting the really high notes without sounding too gross, you know? One and two sounds a little better for E, but I think you can get away with open. pretty good. The more warmed up I get, the better I can play down there anyway. But pretty good. The overall register, highs, lows, mids, very high quality. It probably depends on each different instrument and where each brace is, what notes speak just the certain ways, and it probably fluctuates due to being a Chinese instrument, but I like it. I mean, it really does have a good depth of sound. You can get a lot of color out of it. You can make it really pretty and light and creamy if you want to. Range is good. No problems playing anything high, anything low. Nothing sticks out to me as playing out of tune terribly. It'll be an easy horn to play in tune and impress your band director or your orchestral director or whoever you're playing with, all of your mates out there. Power, well, yeah, this horn has a lot of power. I think this horn will pack a lot of punch going to the back of the room. And I've heard people say that one of these days somebody's going to win one of these orchestral auditions on a Chinese instrument, and I totally agree. You wouldn't think that someone would be playing in orchestras on a Japanese instrument either 20, 30 years ago, and now the Yamayork tuba, which, you know, I'd love to get my hands on, is sort of coveted as the best tuba in the world. As far as a CC tuba, I don't know. There's not a ton of those out there, right? There might be 10 or 20 out there, I don't even know. But everyone really likes them, and they're playing them in the best orchestras. The guys that make their living, that make a six-figure salary, probably not too many of them make a six-figure salary, but the guys who are making their living in major symphonies playing in these orchestras that really want something to stand out are buying these Yamaha tubas. That's why I'm excited that the Chinese are making copies of these, because they might very well be as good, or I wouldn't say they'll be better, but you know what? If they sound as good, somebody's going to win an orchestral audition. I think if you give this horn to Alan Baer and he goes and plays for almost any orchestra in the entire world, they would have Alan Baer play. He'd win behind a screen with this tuba, with his tuba. I mean, so there are just certain players that can do anything on anything. People who have seen it, when I've taken this instrument out to play, look at it and they think it's a super expensive, awesome, huge tuba. Way to go, Wessex. You know, I mean, you made a horn that looks like something that costs $10,000. You're selling it for half the price. Probably some of those German companies would sell a horn like this for $15,000. If I was just starting out playing the tuba, or if my kids were interested and I didn't have a ton of tubas to hand them down already, which I do, probably better to spend $5,000 on a new instrument like this than, say, $5,000 on a really old Miraphone that might have great sound but might have a few things here and there falling apart on it, little bits of brass coming apart in holes, or who knows what could happen in a 20, 30-year-old instrument if it hasn't been taken care of. So really neat that you can get a new horn for that price. Fantastic value. The future of Chinese tubas, can't wait to see that 6-quarter tuba they have. I know they're working on more and more things. I think the competition is terrific. I think it's spurring so much growth in these Chinese music makers and all these different people around the world. Love it. The more competition, the better instruments we're going to get, the cheaper they're going to get, the better people are going to sound on them. I just hope people keep playing music, because in this kind of world it's very fast-paced, and so many people these days don't have time to sit down and learn an instrument or to find people to play with. So find people to play with and keep playing music, because it does soothe the soul. It helps you meditate. It helps you think on important things. Good job, Wessex. Really good job. Thank you for sending me this tuba to borrow. I really enjoyed it. I hope you send me the 6/4 big orchestral tuba. This is a very, very fine instrument. If you're considering buying a tuba, a double C tuba, a 5/4 tuba, think about getting something like this. And I'm not saying that because Wessex is going to pay me money if they get tons of orders or whatever. I expect them to get more orders when I do a review like this anyway, because here it is. I'm showing off this wonderful, beautiful instrument. And this is not a sales pitch. This is just excitement from an enthusiast like me who sees some really cool things happening in the tuba world. And so I'm excited that this is not an expensive instrument compared to what they could be or what they used to be. I'm excited that anyone can go out there and afford this because it's half as much as a tuba used to cost. Although it's still, you know what, the cheaper ones, it's only a seventh as much as a Tesla. The Wessex Wyvern. It's a fantastic horn. If you are looking to get a 5/4 tuba, you need to get your hands on this and try it. They have a store somewhere, I think in Michigan. I probably should know that, but they do have a store in the United States and in the UK. We're going to hear more and more people playing a lot of professional gigs on tubas like these, on Chinese tubas. That can be done. It will be done. It's exciting to see. I love what the Chinese are doing, what Wessex is doing with these tubas, what Eastman's doing. Eastman also has a 6/4 one coming out. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that. These companies are absolutely incredible. So thank you, Jonathan, for sending me this tuba to try. I loved it. I hope you sell a ton of them. It's absolutely wonderful, wonderful. And to all of you out there in YouTube land, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you actually got all the way through this video. Like and subscribe here to tubadylan, and hopefully I'll have some more videos, and Wessex might send me some more tubas. Eastman might send me tubas. I still have a ton of tubas to review. Everybody wants me to review my Yorkbrunner and my Bruckner and all these different tubas that I've had over the years, and I should. So I'm excited to have had the opportunity to review this tuba. Until next time, follow God's 10 Commandments. Love your neighbor as yourself. I love all of you, and I will see you next time. Really crappy GH4 autofocus.